Have you ever noticed how people treat investing like it is some kind of race? As if the whole goal is to find the fastest, next big thing before anyone else does? I swear, half the questions I get sound the same. Should I buy this stock? Is this crypto going to explode? Am I missing out? And every time I ask them one simple question: how much do you have in savings right now if something went wrong? And you would not believe how often the answer is either, or basically nothing. That is the part that drives me crazy. Not because these people are dumb or irresponsible, but because nobody ever taught them the correct order to do things. They are trying to sprint before they even know how to walk. It is like watching someone remodel the kitchen of a house that does not even have walls yet. It looks nice until the first strong wind knocks the whole thing down. If that sounds even a little bit like you, do not be embarrassed. Most people are in the exact same situation. And honestly, that is why this video exists. Once you understand the right sequence for investing your money, everything becomes easier, safer, and way less stressful. It stops feeling like gambling and starts feeling like an actual plan. I am Financial Frank, and I work hard to give you financial education that actually helps you improve your life. So if you want to get your finances in order without getting overwhelmed or pulled into guru nonsense, make sure you hit subscribe. I make videos about the things school should have taught us. Before we get into the exact investment order, I want to share something that puts this entire conversation into perspective. According to national data, about 1/3 of Americans do not even have an emergency fund, and the median amount saved is only around $500. Not 5,000, not even 2,000, just 500. That is barely enough to cover a small car repair. It is actually less than the average monthly car payment. And yet, those same people are asking whether they should buy individual stocks or invest in crypto. That is like asking whether you should take your next vacation to Greece or Italy when your passport expired 3 years ago. You are focusing on the final step before doing any of the first ones. There is a reason wealthy people do not build their finances this way. There is an order, a sequence, one that maximizes your returns, protects you from disaster, and prevents you from giving extra money to the IRS. If you skip the order, your financial progress slows down, your stress goes up, and you lose thousands of dollars over your lifetime without even noticing it. So let's walk through the correct order step by step. And I promise, some of this may challenge what you have been told. Before you invest in anything, whether it is stocks, crypto, ETFs, or anything else, the first thing you need is an emergency fund. I know this part is not exciting. Nobody brags about their emergency savings. But this single step has a bigger impact on your long-term wealth than almost anything else. An emergency fund is not just about having money for unexpected events, although that definitely matters. What it really gives you is stability. It protects you from having to sell your investments at the worst possible time. It protects you from falling into high-interest debt just because life throws you a curveball. It gives you breathing room. And here is what most people do not realize. The biggest benefit is psychological. If you have even a small cushion, you make better decisions. You think more clearly, you stay calm, you do not panic buy, you do not panic sell, you do not make desperate choices when something goes wrong. So how much should you aim for? Traditional advice says 3 to 6 months of expenses. That is a good range, but it is too broad to be useful. I prefer breaking it into levels. Your first goal is to save your first $1,000, not to invest it, just save it. This alone covers most small emergencies like a flat tire, a minor medical bill, or a cracked phone screen. When you have that 1,000, you immediately feel safer. After that, save 1 month of living expenses. When you reach that, build toward 3 months. Could you save more? Yes. Some people should. If you have a very unstable job or unpredictable income, more savings can be helpful. But for most people, 3 months is the perfect balance between safety and progress. There is research from Vanguard showing that people with just $2,000 saved had significantly higher financial well-being than those with nothing. Not because $2,000 is a life-changing amount, but because knowing you have a buffer changes the way you behave. Once you have this foundation, you move to step 2, which is eliminating high-interest debt. When I say high interest, I mean anything above about 8%. But let's be honest, credit card debt is the big one. With average interest rates around 22%, credit card debt is basically a financial black hole. People do not understand how serious this is. 22% interest does not just grow fast, it grows faster than almost any investment can realistically keep up with. Carrying credit card debt while investing is like trying to drive a car with the parking brake on. You can push the gas as hard as you want, but you are not going anywhere. And the math is brutal. If you have $5,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest and only make minimum payments, you will pay almost $3,000 in interest over 5 years. That is money that is not building wealth for you. It is building wealth for the bank. Paying off high interest debt is the closest thing you will ever get to a guaranteed return. A guaranteed 22% return is better than Warren Buffett's long-term average. So yes, paying off debt really is a form of investing. The most effective strategy is the debt avalanche method. Pay the minimums on everything, then put every extra dollar toward the debt with the highest interest rate. It saves you the most money. The debt snowball method, where you pay off the smallest balances first, can help if you need motivation. But the avalanche method is the best financially. However, there is one major exception to the pay off debt first rule, and this becomes the third step in the proper investment order. If your employer offers a retirement match through a 401k, you should contribute enough to get that full match even if you still have high interest debt. That might sound strange, but the math makes it obvious. Employer match is free money. If your employer matches 50 cents on the dollar or even dollar for dollar, that is an instant 50 to 100% return. Nothing else guarantees you those returns. Nothing even comes close. So the priority is simple. Contribute just enough to get the match and then put all remaining money toward eliminating your high interest debt. One detail people forget is vesting schedules. Some companies require you to stay a certain number of years before you get to keep the matching money. You do not have to memorize every detail, but you should understand your company's policy. Even with a vesting schedule, taking the match is almost always worth it. Once you have an emergency fund, no high interest debt, and you are getting your full employer match, you have built the foundation of your financial house. And now investing gets fun because we enter what I call the tax optimization phase. This is where people make some of their biggest long-term mistakes. They jump straight into taxable investment accounts because the flexibility feels appealing, but that decision often costs them tens of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes. The first step in the tax optimization phase is maximizing your IRA, your individual retirement account. This comes before putting more money into your 401k because IRAs usually offer more control and lower fees. Most employer 401k menus are limited. Many include expensive mutual funds with high fees that slowly eat away at your returns. With an IRA, you can choose low-cost index funds or ETFs that align with your long-term goals without paying high fees. And those fees matter. A 1% fee does not sound like much, but over 30 years, it can cost you tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands depending on how much you invest. In 2025, the IRA contribution limit is $7,000 or $8,000 if you are 50 or older. Now, you do need to choose between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. This is where a lot of people get confused. The decision comes down to one simple question. Do you want to pay taxes now or later? Traditional accounts give you a tax break today, but you pay taxes when you withdraw the money in retirement. Roth accounts make you pay taxes now, but every dollar you withdraw later is tax-free. The general rule is simple. If you are in a high tax bracket now and expect to be in a lower one later, a traditional IRA is usually better. If you are in a low tax bracket now but expect to earn more later, a Roth IRA is the smarter choice. If you are early in your career, a Roth is usually the best option since you are likely in one of the lowest tax brackets you will ever be in. If you are unsure or your income goes up and down, splitting contributions between both types gives you flexibility. Now we get to one of the most underrated tools in all of personal finance, health savings accounts. HSAs might be the single most powerful investment account available to the average person. Why? Because HSAs offer a triple tax advantage. You get a tax deduction when you contribute, and you can withdraw it tax-free for qualified medical expenses. No other account works this way. The only catch is you need a high deductible health plan to qualify. That is not right for everyone. But if you are young, healthy, or rarely have medical expenses, an HSA can be a retirement cheat code. Here is a strategy most people do not know. Pay for your current medical expenses out of pocket if you can, save the receipts, and let your HSA investments grow untouched. There is no time limit on reimbursements. You could pay a bill today and reimburse yourself 20 years later completely tax-free. And here is the crazy part. If you max out HSA contributions for 25 to 30 years and earn even average returns, you can end up with hundreds of thousands of dollars tax-free. That money can cover medical costs in retirement, which are basically guaranteed. Once you have maxed out your IRA and your HSA, only then should you go back to your 401k and contribute beyond the employer match. The 2025 contribution limit is over $23,000 for most people. At this point, your money is growing tax-deferred and your long-term savings are accelerating fast. And here is something most people do not realize. If you are following this entire sequence, meaning emergency fund, no high interest debt, employer match, IRA, HSA, and maxing your 401k, then you are already saving better than 95% of Americans. After all these tax advantage steps, we finally get to the one most people try to start with: taxable investment accounts. Brokerage accounts are great because they offer total flexibility. You can invest in stocks, ETFs, bonds, or crypto. You can withdraw your money whenever you want. There are no restrictions. But taxable accounts come with a major downside: tax drag. Every dividend, every sale, every gain gets taxed. And over time, those small taxes add up in massive ways. For example, imagine two people invest $10,000 a year for 30 years at the same return. One uses tax advantage accounts. The other uses a taxable brokerage. The difference after 30 years can easily be over $100,000, even though they invested the same amount. Taxes matter, but once you have taken advantage of every tax advantage option, taxable accounts become incredibly useful. They help you retire early, they help you save for a home, they give you full control over your investments. So here is the complete investment order one more time: emergency fund, high interest debt elimination, employer match, max your IRA, max your HSA, max your 401k beyond the match. Then invest through taxable accounts. It is not flashy, it is not hype, but this is how real long-term wealth is built. Anyone can follow this system at any income level. And once you put this structure in place, you do not need to be a financial genius. You simply follow the steps, stay consistent, and give your money time to grow. Your future self will thank you for choosing the boring steps first, because those are the steps that actually make you rich.